Okay, I'd like to call the Monday, June 30th, 2025 regular council meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard.
Here.
Teeman.
Here.
Payton. Here. Edgecombe.
Here.
Sapienza.
Here.
Osadnik.
Here.
Lukosius.
Here.
Marino.
Here.
Mayor Kolowski.
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment online tonight. Anything yet? None?
None yet.
Okay. Public comment in-house tonight? Anybody? No public comment in-house? Presentations. We have Illinois Valley Food Pantry here this evening. We'll get you a mic. Adam, could you over here?
Thank you.
Welcome and thanks for coming in tonight.
All right. My name is Pete Lenichek. I'm the current board president of the Illinois Valley Food Pantry. With me is Mary Jo Creedy. She is our executive director. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving us this time tonight. We're looking forward to our new location and a fruitful relationship with the city and the surrounding community. I'd like to say a few words on how we arrived there. At the beginning of May, the Illinois Valley Food Pantry sent invitations to several area banks to listen to a presentation at our LaSalle location. On May 8th, the presentation was held, with loan executives from 7 area banks attending. The objective was to present our need for a new facility and to obtain financing for this goal. We had a building in mind that we were prepared to make an offer on, and we just needed to know if it was feasible to obtain the needed funds. So we made our presentation. The banks asked us to step away for a couple minutes. They put their heads together. They came back and offered us a deal right on the spot. They offered to collaborate, each take on 1/7 of the burden. To say we were overjoyed is quite an understatement. We were flabbergasted. But I would like to take the opportunity to thank these banks tonight. In no particular order: Eureka Savings Bank in LaSalle, Peru Federal Savings Bank in Peru, Hometown National Bank in LaSalle, LaSalle State Bank in LaSalle, Heartland Bank and Trust in Peru, Central Bank Illinois in Peru, Spring Valley City Bank in Spring Valley. Thank you. Now MJ has a few words to say. There you go, MJ.
Hi, and thank you again for inviting us to this meeting. In our 43 years of operation, we have never needed to hold a fundraising campaign of this magnitude. We have always gotten by with our core group of dedicated donors. We currently serve 750 families out of our pantry a month. These families are your neighbors. With our new undertaking, we are launching an ambitious fundraising campaign with a goal of $750,000. This amount will cover the cost of the new facility and the cost of a much-needed walk-in cooler and freezer. We were encouraged to learn that the Mendota Area Christian Food Pantry, under the guidance of Executive Director Tracy Cooper and her board, was able to raise over $600,000 in 1 year. Mendota's Food Pantry received individual and business donations of $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and $20,000. Their most generous patron has donated a total of $93,000 in monetary funds and goods and services. We are confident that the individual donors, businesses, financial institutions, and religious institutions in Peru, well, actually in the 12 towns that we serve, will be just as generous for our undertaking. Our communities have always been there in our times of need. We would also like to welcome help from any local grade school, middle school, or high school, whether an entire class or a club or organization that wishes to contribute to our cause or to help us purchase various items that we may require at our new location. In conclusion, I would like to thank the Peru City Clerk's office. I received a call Friday while I was doing a food distribution at our current location. And I was told that they are going to have a fundraiser of collecting food donations and monetary donations to welcome us to Peru. And we are very happy to be part of Peru. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm here to try and answer them.
Just out of curiosity, in case anybody out there is listening and is wondering, your fundraising goal, do you guys have a time frame that you're setting to that? I know you said Mendota's did theirs in about a year.
At this time, no, we don't have a time frame.
Okay. But so you don't have a time frame that you need it necessarily by either. You're just going to spend this time.
We would like to achieve the goal within the next 5 years.
Okay.
That is our time frame with the banks before the interest rates really increase.
Thank
and
you.
we have already launched. I'm sure some of you have already received letters in the mail. If not, you're going to. And it explains our fundraising, and we have several ways that you can do it. You can mail it. You can drop it off at our current location. We also, our website, we already launched a page for our national campaign, or our campaign.
Thank you.
Thank
Knowing
you.
the people of the Illinois Valley, I think you'll get there within 5 years easily.
We're really counting on it. This is a great community. Like I said, anytime we were in need, our community came to our rescue.
To follow up on what Mary Jo said a little bit, we've been kicking around in the clerk's office about doing some volunteerism, and this came up on the agenda Friday, so I talked to the girls and I reached out to Mary Jo, and we're looking at August. We're going to include it in the city bill, a little flyer, kind of welcome them to the city and collect what we can for them as kind of, to kickstart them, fill the pantry and fill their coffers to welcome them to come into Peru.
Great,
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you, and welcome to the city of Peru.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Any other presentations tonight? We move on to minutes, financial reports, activity reports. Regular meeting, can I get a motion for the regular meeting minutes of June 16, 2025, and the treasurer's report from May of 2025?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. We'll move on to committee reports. Chairman Payton.
Alderman Sapienza, please.
Yes, I have the disbursements to be paid July 2nd, 2025 in the amount of $1,422,642.63. I'd like to make a motion that we pay the bills in the usual manner.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard.
Aye.
Teeman.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Alderman Ballard, please.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve from Diamond Brothers Insurance with National Fire Insurance Company of Hartford for boiler and machinery coverage in the amount of $95,857.
Any discussion? Tom?
Yes, this contract, we're in the second year of a 3-year contract. There was no rate increase. So it'll be the same price this year and next year.
Do we have a second? Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard.
Aye.
Teeman.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve a $500 donation to the Horizon House Road to Independence campaign.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard.
Aye.
Teeman.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the following CD reinvestments and renewals. One at LaSalle State Bank for $482,458.53.
on a 6-month renewal at 3.95. That's for general fund reserves. The Bank of Mellon Operating Reserve account for 240, it's a 9-month. It's a reinvestment of the utility fund. The Bank of America for 240,000. It is a 1-year reinvestment of 4.25 utility fund. Just on the last two, just so the general public knows, when these come up for renewal, we shop our local banks first to get their best rate. And with some banks, we can actually play each other off. You know, we can get this rate here or that rate there. On these were the best rates at the time when these came up. But we do look local first.
I'll second.
Jackson and Tracy, is, the Fed, they made any moves? I thought they were supposed to make a move on rates this week or next week. Nationally?
No.
Nothing? All quiet? Okay. We have a second. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman,
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Mr. Powell, do you have anything for us? I do not. Tracy? Kim? That is all from Finance.
Public Services Committee, Chairman Edgecombe.
Alderman Osadnik.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the purchase of a Model 200 Zamboni in the amount of $17,450 from the Frank J. Zamboni Company for the Washington Park Ice Rink.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Adam?
Yeah, I know last Monday I reported that it was $1,500 less, but they forgot to include freight on that. So I apologize for that inaccurate number last week, but that is the final $17,450. This is an attachment that goes onto the tractor that we purchased, we purchased already. So to use it in the winter, have the ice rink ready to get out of our current system that we're in right now.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman,
Aye.
Payton. Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
I'd
Alderman Teeman.
like to make a motion to approve the quote from 25-8 Extreme in the amount of $31,911 for the Taste of the Illinois Valley Fun Zone, which has been offset by event sponsor funds.
Second. Second that.
Adam, that says it's offset by the event sponsor funds. You want to update us on that amount?
Yeah, we're at 30,750, with a handful more that I know that are gonna be on the way within the next month as well. So we'll see what the total is in a couple weeks.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
I'm going to yield to Alderman Sapienza here to discuss the creation of committee to address e-bikes and state law to create new regulations for City of Peru.
Yes, we've talked about this before at committee and at council level. There needs to be something done about the e-bikes. We've had a few accidents. I know that there were reported 4 accidents, but I'm starting to find out that there were more than 4 because most people don't, they're minor accidents and they don't consider reporting them. I think one of the things Attorney Schweikert has done a lot of legwork on this with the state law and highlighting and some of the ideas that we could put into place as a municipality. But one thing that is not addressed yet is the idea of educating the people that are going to be using the bikes. I think that's something that without that, you really don't have any enforcement. I think there are 2 things that need to be addressed, and one is the responsibility of the users of the e-bikes and scooters and things like that. And the second thing is consequence, no matter how small or whatever it could be, but some sort of a consequence if you're a continuous offender of this. I've gotten a lot of people tell me that we need to do something about it. The state law, we could always just simply go to the state law. Basically, it sums it up by saying you got to be 18 years old to be on an e-bike or scooters. The reason I'm putting myself out there is because I come from a motorcycle background. I had motorcycles and scooters when I was about 8 years old. I know where they're coming from. I know where their parents are coming from that just bought their kid a $700 scooter. I understand that, but we just have to get it out there, educate the kids, and educate the public on where they can go, how fast they can go, what roads they're able to go on, where they're able to cross, all those kinds of things. So I'm putting myself out there to see if we can't get a small committee and within a couple of months, maybe close to when school starts or just right after, get something down on print and be able to say we have some sort of a policy. It's not that hard, but it's controversial. And like my wife told me a couple days ago, she said, Mike, you know you're not going to make any friends doing this. And she's right. We're going to make some people happy and some people sad, but something's got to be done, and we need to address it and not kick the can down the road, or somebody could get hurt, and then we'll sit back and we'll say, geez, we really should have done something. That's something that was avoidable. So,
Alderman Sapienza, I'm completely okay with this. The concern I have, and I'm going to say that let's talk about this more at the committee level on Monday. It'll give Attorney Schweikert a chance, after the issues that we ran into with the pool committee, start to get a little worried when we talk about having other committees to make sure that we're not violating anything. If we do put some sort of committee together, and what exactly the rules we have to follow to do it. I did speak with the police chief about this to tell her that you're interested in having somebody from the police department sit on it with you. But I spoke with Attorney Schweikert. He agreed if we can give him till Monday of next week, he will research and make sure that if we put this together as a committee, we don't do it in a way that violates any open meetings acts or anything like that.
I really would like it to be, open, an open meeting. I'm not afraid of having the public there, getting their input. I think that's very important as long as it's done in an orderly fashion. That is definitely.
I don't disagree with any of that, and I'm not saying that I think it should be done behind closed doors, but there's more than just that. There's the fact of posting and minutes and all of those things that becomes a little more burdensome, that I don't know that necessarily those are things that we need for this type of committee. So we just want to make sure that if we set it up the proper way, so that it's fine. We could post when we're going to have these meetings. But I don't know that we need to have the clerk there taking minutes and all of the other things for all these meetings, so.
Well, I agree with getting Attorney Schweikert involved in setting this all up so it is correct. That is for sure.
Okay, we'll talk some more then on Monday night about it. Chief Raymond, did you have anything for us this evening? Chief King? Adam, anything else for us? That'd be it for public services.
We will move on to Public Works, Chairman Lukosius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Alderman Ballard, would you take the first one, please?
Yes, I'd like to discuss and motion to approve the purchase of a Model 335V for the Power Master 3 Series meter load tester for $14,695 from Power Metrics.
I'll second that. Kevin, you want to tell us what that's all about?
Yep, this is a device that allows us to test our own power meters. So everybody knows we've been having some issues with like the AMI modules and having to replace them in a number of meters. I have kind of a estimate in my head. We'll probably need to do between 250 to 300 meters this year, swapping out modules. And before you can put them back in service, you have to test them to make sure that the metering portion of it's functioning properly as well, since it's going to be used for revenue for billing folks. And this will allow us to test and validate that all of those meters are functioning appropriately, as well as we'll be able to go out to existing facilities and test not only the meter, but the other devices we have that helps measure the power to make sure everything is operating accurately so that we're not losing revenue due to a bad current or voltage transformer out in the field as well. So it'll be used, I would say, from here on out. Every year we'll take a sample of our population of meters and test them, as well as any AMI change outs. I've been getting our technician trained up, and shortly he'll be capable of doing that himself.
Very good. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Clerk, call a roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman,
Aye.
Payton, Edgecombe,
Aye.
Sapienza,
Aye.
Osadnik,
Aye.
Lukosius,
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Your Honor, next I'd like to make a motion to approve the feasibility study proposal from the sports facility companies in the amount of $58,500 for the proposed city center and regional sports complex.
I'll second that.
Eric, you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So Sports Facilities Companies is a group that we've met with several times now. We met with them most recently at our ICSC Shopping Center conference. Sports Facilities Companies represents a number of municipalities across the country. We have taken time to reach out to some of those municipalities and understand their relationship and the facilities that they delivered in their communities. Probably closest to us, where they'd be most familiar to people, might be the new facility that's being constructed in New Lenox and also in Springfield. Feel that the sports facilities company is a good fit for Peru for a number of strategic reasons, with their network and proximity to those facilities and the ability to maximize the usage if we get to a point that this becomes a reality. It makes the most sense to work with them. They have a very qualified staff of individuals that will perform a very detailed feasibility study and financial model to present to the city. And the other piece that I really appreciated from them is their openness and transparency to say, be prepared that we might tell you that this doesn't work too. So they have given us examples where they've met with communities that the feasibility study didn't prove out. So I think this is a very critical step for us to understand if this is the best move to grow the city. So with that, I would recommend that we move forward with that study. Timing wise, it's about 60 to 90 days to complete. And then I would anticipate a number of sessions with the critical members of the city to understand some of the components that would go into the feasibility study, interview processes, if you will, and then probably a couple presentations before the city council.
Thank you, Eric. Any other discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman,
Aye.
Payton,
Aye.
Edgecombe,
Aye.
Sapienza, Osadnik,
Aye.
Lukosius,
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to hire the selected candidate for the position of maintenance operator, first step within the electric department.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Alderman Ballard,
Aye.
Teeman,
Aye.
Payton,
Aye.
Edgecombe,
Aye.
Sapienza, Osadnik,
Aye.
Lukosius,
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried.
Jeff, do you have anything for us, Public Works? Kevin, anything additional electric?
Just kind of a heads up, we did get the very initial submission to the grant through the state of Illinois for some resiliency work in the electric grid in the city of Peru. Want to thank Eric for loaning Lauren. She did a fantastic job and was very valuable in the process.
Very good, thank you. Eric, anything under engineering?
Just one update, and I think both chiefs have been notified. We are going to be doing a traffic flip tomorrow on Plank Road to the next stage. And then we are meeting with the Department of Transportation later this week to discuss some staging revisions to the final 2 stages of Plank Road. So once we finalize those, I'll certainly update the council of any changes, and we'll keep police and fire and, EMS up to speed on what those changes are.
Very good, thank you. That's all for Public Works, Your Honor.
We'll move on to a report of city attorney ordinances and resolutions.
Yes, Your Honor. First, I have an ordinance authorizing and approving the acquisition of road right-of-way from the Chapman Family Limited Partnership for Plank Road Reconstruction, Phase 2.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Clerk, call a roll, please.
Alderman Ballard. Teeman.
Aye.
Payton. Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius. Marino.
Motion carried.
Next, I have an ordinance amending ordinance number 6947 relating to compensation for temporary part-time employees of the Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Department.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
I'll second.
Could I have a little explanation?
Yeah, Kim, it's basically a typo. Kim, go ahead.
Yeah, it was just discovered that there was a typographical error in the original ordinance. Just 2 numbers were flipped for the 1-week camp assistant position. So
Thank
we're
you.
just correcting that.
Clerk, call a roll, please.
Alderman Ballard.
Aye.
Teeman.
Aye.
Payton. Edgecombe.
Aye.
Sapienza. Osadnik.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Marino.
Motion carried. Anything else from city attorney tonight? Proclamations, anything? Unfinished business. I got 2 things on the agenda. You guys talked about it in depth at the committee meetings, discussion of the water tower painting. Unfortunately, I was not here on Monday. Does anybody have any updates on this, or what direction we're going, or what's their thoughts process?
I thought that it was pretty clear that you said what direction we were going. In the text that we got.
I'm confused.
Excuse me.
The text message read,
Right.
we are not doing this.
No, I said we were not doing it at this time because, again, I'm just kind of uncomfortable with it. I personally don't like it. I don't know what the procedure would be. I've talked to somebody that's been in branding and advertising for over 40 years, and they don't recommend doing this. It's an idea, I get it. At least we should do is at least inform the public of this idea before we do it, because this is something that's going to be up there for probably 30 to 40 years, and I don't think we should surprise the public with something like this. I think we should give it to the media outlets and say these are what we're thinking, and get some outside input.
Your
That's
Honor,
my thinking.
Your Honor, at the committee level, we discussed this. There were 6 aldermen here at the committee level that day. All 6, it was unanimous that we should go ahead with what we had previously talked about, which was the Area 251. It was a little bit of a shock when we got the text from you saying that you weren't in favor of this. I'd like to see us do something that's a little bit unique and a little bit different than what other communities have to kind of set us apart. We've had such positive feedback from the tower up north on Route 80 with the TBM on it, which has been kind of our signature event in Peru, and the comments have all been positive, and never got a negative comment on that thing at all. Again, I think we should be unique and do something that no one else has.
I keep going.
Following up in regards to Alderman Lukosius's comments, I don't think there's been anything that's been withheld. I mean, I don't know that there's any reason why we can't share what the city is thinking and what has been drawn up from the Area 251 and share that with the media. And we have yet to hear from the contractor who's painting the tower, from Bill Zenz, who spoke, the head of IVAC, thought it was a fantastic idea. I think the whole point was to draw people in, to get people off Interstate 80, to have something unique in nature, a family of 4, a couple driving down the interstate, to get them off the interstate for something to go see. And tying everything together with the Area 251 water tower, city center, retail, build, grow, and develop is what we talk about all the time, right? Being the leader of the valley and continuing to grow that area, retail, right, is to bring people off the interstate. And I think Bill Zenz spoke about that. He thought it was a great idea. It's bringing people to the area. To come up with an idea of, you know, everybody knows they're in Peru. You can see Peru from the 80 with a flag on it. It's not unique. The alderman spoke and said everyone up here thought it was a great idea, including myself and the general public. I don't think we have anything to hide. Show them what we're thinking and get a consensus. I think it's a great idea to think outside the box and do something different and get the opinion of the rest of the council.
You know,
I wasn't here last Monday, but I was under the assumption that this was already done, that we had discussed it a number of times in committee. We've discussed it on the floor, that this was a great idea. And I have no problem sharing everything with the media and everything. I agree with Alderman Marino and Alderman Lukosius. You know what? This is something different, and this is what we're trying to do up there. I have no issues with this, and we've talked about it enough, to be honest with you.
I was also absent last Monday, but I think I made myself clear before. I keep going back to the Metropolis one with Superman. That you don't say, oh, Metropolis. Yeah, I saw their name on a water tower. You think of Superman. That's what you think of. You think of something like that. I'm 100% behind this. It draws people in. Now we can go out and try to find 50 people and convince them that they're against it and have them come in and stir things up. But there's 8 people here, and we were all elected to use our head. And we've got 8 people that have used their head, I believe. I hate to speak for everyone, but I think I am. So that's my judgment call, and it's the judgment call, I think, of definitely the majority of us.
Anyone else? Rick?
I agree with the other aldermen. The patriotic letters, PERU, are awesome. And it was brought up last week. So we don't only have to have Area 251 on the water tower. Someplace it's going to say Peru. But I think the main theme of Area 251 is very unique and it's fun. I would bet that if we were to take a vote in the city, it would probably pass 80-20. That this is so crazy, let's do it.
And I think if you took a vote of the people crossing Route 80 that are just going by looking at it, you probably have a 95-5. But we've got a lot of water towers around the state Peru that they'll also see.
Eric, will there be it doesn't show it on here, well, it'll say Peru somewhere on this tank? That what he was saying?
We can certainly work with them on those graphics, yeah.
Oh, this will be on, okay.
Yeah, following committee, I had told them what the decision of the council was and to move forward with preparing the vector graphics for the Area 251 and the desire to have Peru somewhere. So they did do a Peru typeface for us that is in the same font as Area 251. It would be about the same size as what is currently up there as Peru on the offsides.
So the Peru side, this first I'm seeing this, Peru would be on the east side and the Area 251 will be on the west side?
We can arrange that however. I mean, it's not a final design yet, so.
And then the baseball, the soccer, and the baseball bat, is that what we're doing there too? Have you guys seen this or not? Okay, I apologize, I haven't. I mean, is that what we want to do on the inside too with the baseball and the soccer and all that?
On the sheets that were presented at committee, they did have the alternative logos, including they had some basketball players within the tractor beam, as well as 2 bats and a ball. That was the original that was discussed back in April, and what everyone wanted to move forward with.
Okay.
And we've already voted on and approved this new style of LED lighting that's going to illuminate the tower and the tank. And I think it's really the next step that we'd be losing out on an opportunity here.
Scott, would you want to just let the public know a little bit more about the lighting and the special effects and stuff on this tower?
Now or later by the media. I mean, we did some photometric studies with a company that sells RGBW LED spotlights for sports stadiums. The RGBW stands for what colors it's capable of, so that's every color. Back in, that was presented as an idea as part of the water tower back in April on the 14th. On the 5th of May, we approved the purchase of those LED stadium lights. So those will be placed, one at the bottom of a pole and one at the top of the pole. There's 4 poles, one at each corner of the tower, to uplight the tower. And so the light-colored stem or base of the tower will catch that light, and it'll appear as if it's a tractor beam for a UFO. And they can be changed to any color, so they can be colored for holidays or whatnot, whatever the desire is for the time, and controllable, so you could have different effects as well.
What, Eric, what will be the color of the top of it? Like, this is showing a black, or what's the actual color of the tank?
It won't be black. We were directed to work with the contractor on that, but based on the messages that were sent last week, I haven't furthered those discussions at this point. So it wouldn't be a black color, but it would be maybe like a navy, similar to the color at the North Tower.
I think for us to sit here and discuss the colors, that's more on a professional level. Don't you think that that should be?
Yeah, we'll finalize the actual color, like name of the color, with the contractor as soon as it sounds like I have the final direction based on what was given at the previous committee meeting. So we'll bring that back to everybody at committee with the color number and name is of the color, but it will not be black.
Okay, so we will be getting the final, exactly what we're getting color-wise, size-wise, what side, location, everything. We don't have that right now.
I think that we have a pre-final, basically. I think that's in front of you right now. So it would just be I don't know the name of the color, so I can't tell you that today.
Okay, any other discussion? We're moving on to discussion of replacing Baker Lake Patch, the walking path around. Again, I was not here and I apologize. I believe there was some discussion on this, and I'm talking to Eric. Eric, could you throw a few numbers out at us and explain how we have this credit involved and things like that? And I really think this is a project we should be doing as a whole instead of using it as piece.
Yeah, we discussed this one at committee as well. And I agree with that, and that's what I presented to the committee, was we want to apply this to a specific project. We can't apply it over multiple different projects. A project that was on our radar is reconstructing the existing Baker Lake path to a concrete path 10 foot wide, and also adding some secondary paths within the network to connect the new parking lot on the south side near Lighted Way, and then to connect to the parking lot, playground, and shelter on the west side of the lake. The replacement path is about a mile. It's about 5,200 feet. We'd be removing the existing asphalt, utilizing a little bit of aggregate base for grading inconsistencies, and then installing a 6-inch thick concrete path 10 foot wide. There'd be about 1,000 feet of new path, split evenly on both sides of the lake. That we would be constructing a 6-inch deep aggregate base with a 6-inch concrete 10 foot wide path as well. Based on some figures that we know, and they're not final figures until we get the proposal, but generally those replacements and what our expectations would be, probably around $150,000 worth of material. As part of our settlement agreement, we have to identify the project before October. So we're looking to identify that project immediately.
July 13th.
Sorry, July 13th. Sorry.
It's 90 days notice from October.
Correct. Yeah. October 10th is the deadline, 90 days before. So we want to identify that immediately and then work on the construction schedule, because there's certain periods of the year that we would want to access Baker Lake without doing too much landscape damage, if you will. So, rainy fall, rainy spring, we don't want to be in there. Anyways, I presented that at the committee level, and I believe the direction was to move forward in identifying that project and starting to prepare it for labor quotes, because the city would be responsible for the labor associated with that project.
Okay, yeah, the projection was gonna be roughly 2 to 2, and I was proposing that we used half of the street program, which I know you guys discussed, you didn't wanna do that. I did have a meeting with Tracy today that said we won't touch the street program, we'll do this with other funds. Basically, we can do both projects without jeopardizing the street program that we have. So I just thought on straw poll, we should move forward with this and make the lake, it'll be 10-foot round, right, Eric, I believe?
Correct.
And it'll be all cement with added 2 new sidewalks.
Correct. The only location that may come into question, we're gonna have to just visit it with the DNR, is the section that's over the earthen dam on the south side.
Eric, it'll pretty much match up with the current sidewalk that goes up along the new subdivision, correct? That's
Correct.
kinda
It'll look identical to the path that we've been constructing, up around the police station, the one that's currently under contract with the ITEP, and the one that we built coming from Wenzel Road along the west side of the new Pohar Crossing subdivision.
I would just have this to say about this. There's no money in the budget for this. This was not put in the budget. We did the budget cuts, and you had gone and put back in $400,000 for our street program. And I understand that replacing the walk path is important in Baker Lake. We have the credit from Myrtle Gravel, but right now, I don't feel comfortable green lighting this because I can't see the money in the budget, and I haven't talked to Tracy about it. I'm just putting it out there that it is not in the budget. So we're gonna have to figure out where it's gonna come from. But if we made all those cuts, I don't think this is something that we can put in. I think we can ask Myrtle Gravel, hey, we're not gonna be able to get to it this year. Can we do it in the next budget year? I think they're good neighbors. And I think we should explore that rather than spending money we don't have in our budget.
Anybody else?
I think now, Tom, I think those are great points. And that's something that we didn't consider at the committee meeting. I had asked Eric, what's the value of this credit? it was about 200,000, and then another 200,000 in labor. We never did ask the question, can we ask Myrtle to put this off?
So we certainly can. Just says that we have to identify the project. So I would like to at least identify the project by the deadline date. And we can certainly discuss with them, that project falling into a later fiscal year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any new business? Petitions and communications.
Yes, Your Honor, we have communication from Matt Becker of Stone Jug Barbecue requesting permission to close Schuyler Street between 3rd Street and 4th Street on July 6th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. for their annual shrimp boil event.
I'd like to make the motion that we agree with this request. It's always a great event, and fun is had by all.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried.
Next, Your Honor, we have communication from Riverfront Bar and Grill requesting 1 hour extension of day hours and the 65 dBA sound limit for outdoor music to 11 p.m. on July 3rd, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it. Look, now this is in our ward, and Alderman Sapienza and I are very sensitive to the residents. But I believe on July 3rd, the rockin' sounds of the Regal Beagle going till 11, keeping it under 65 dB is going to be the least of sound problems in the city of Peru.
Yeah, this is our 4th of July celebration. We've invested a bunch of money into it, fireworks, into all that kind of stuff. I have to agree with this. 11 o'clock is not that late.
Did you notice they put a roof on their stage outside also now? No, it's a solid roof. I was down by there today. It's a pretty solid roof, so I think they're gonna cave that in as much as they can too, so I think it might help out. Cave it in, so they'll be inside so it's gonna push it more towards the front than it going back, so.
Yeah, they've done a whole lot down there to try to work with the neighborhood, and I have to commend them for that. They spent a fortune down there.
I could tell you some of the people that live across the river and are looking forward to being able to hear that from their houses.
All those signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carried. Anything else from petitions and communications?
That's all, Your Honor.
We'll move on to mayor notes. We had a nice event this weekend. Adam, you want to talk about Touch a Truck a little bit?
Yeah, it was a good event. I want to thank Ray Zabrowski, Steve Michelini for coordinating a lot of that, along with the rest of the park board members. Had a pretty good crowd. Wasn't super busy at any time, just kind of a steady little 3-hour event at the park. So thanks for everybody that participated. Multiple businesses throughout the area. Some fire department was there, ambulance. So yeah, thanks everybody.
And then we also had another event last Tuesday, First Responder Night. I know Blake puts a lot of work into that. Very successful night. Full, big crowd. Having all those vehicles up there, even though you guys got called out, that event was really well received, I thought.
CSO too, because they cooked for us too. So
CSO did the cooking on that.
huge. We really appreciated it.
But yeah, like I said, Blake does an amazing job coordinating that, and he had some new things in there this year, and it was really nice event. Moving forward, as we know, we got fireworks on July 3rd. I've been talking to Jeff and Adam. I believe everything's in line, everything from parking to the trolleys to everything is. I see they got the electrical run down there already, so we should be in good shape.
Yeah, we're all set. Just waiting on one thing, Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of our stuff's gonna be done on Wednesday, just because it's the Thursday event, but the toilets and the garbage and
flags, street sweeper, all that stuff's gonna be done on Wednesday, so we'll be all ready to go for Thursday.
Okay. Chief, we got all the signs up, of course, they're gonna be all the no parking signs, restrictions we posting all this stuff, I believe?
We post it every year. Yep, we'll start Thursday morning and have them all done.
That's all I have. Anybody else have anything? Public comment online?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mayor, I just want to add that we'll start at 6 on Thursday. 6 o'clock on Water Street Thursday. Just letting everybody know, whoever's listening or will listen. That's what
I'd add too that Adam really has done a good job this year with coordinating and with the businesses down there. And we're cross-advertising with them, and it's more of a collective supportive thing. So I think that's a really good thing, Adam. Thank you. Nothing online. Public comment in-house. Anybody have public comment in-house? Nothing? No reason for closed session. I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.